You love me in a frozen time, hungry for that flesh of mine, but I can't compete with the she-wolf who has brought me to my knees. What do you see in those yellow eyes? As I'm falling to pieces,
I chose the music video brief. It told me that I had to produce a 30-second stop animation music video for a song of my choice.
Did she lie in wait? Was I bait to pull you in? The thrill of the kill, you feel there's a sin. Lay with the wolves, alone it seems. I thought I was part of you. You love me enough.
My animation is similar to Aardman's Wallace and Gromit because we both use armatures and plastic for our characters. They use more expensive and better armatures though, as they're able to make the characters have facial expressions and make them talk. Because they have many faces per character that they have on set, so if they need to make a character talk after every shot, they change the faces on the character, so that when the photos are put together, the character looks like he's talking. And obviously they just add voices on top of that. Also, you know, that helps if you want to make the character crying or angry. But my characters didn't really have any facial things, so it didn't look like if they were crying or if they were angry. Because they had the same expressions, so that would be something that I would need to change. They also tell a story through their animations. Even though I was not making a film, I wanted to make a music video that told a story in it. I believe that it's due to the expression that the characters use above all else, but I also think that having a good story to begin with and having enough time to tell the story is also very important to the animation. I think that I tried to fit too big a story into the time limit, so that was one of my biggest downfalls, I believe, and how it does not quite meet Aardman's type of expectations. But they use real sets, but I chose to use green screen. If I was to do this again, I might think about making sets to do in, or maybe going outside and taking pictures there. This would make it more of a real feeling, I think. Aardman's characters have better armatures for the characters. If I had a choice, I'd like to use the same sort of armatures as them, but it's too expensive for me. And their armatures are more robotic, so it can help with the smoothness of the moves, as the characters need to have smooth movement across the screen, so it looks effortless when pictures are put together. I only had metal armatures that I'd made myself, but theirs are really special. My armatures weren't as high tech, and I needed to hold my armatures up in some of the photos, so I had to green screen it. And also the material of the green screen made it hard for the characters to actually stand up. Tim Burton also uses plasticine for his characters. It's one of the reasons that I chose to use the stuff in the first place. I thought if big animation companies use it, then surely it's a really good thing to use and is fit for purpose. It's also good to mould and it's tough. You can make armatures that you need to be able to make them stand up and be tough enough to hold their own weight, which is a really big important part of stop animation, I believe, and so that's why using plasticine was a really good idea, I believe. The material is good to mould with, of course, and it's easy to put it into the shape and it'll hold in that shape, unlike Play-Doh, which is quite soft and will probably just sort of flatten itself out after time, but these ones don't dry out as well, which is really good. So if you film over a couple of days, then your armatures will still be able to move fully from the first day as on the last day. Different between our characters though, along the plasticine idea, is that their plastics skills are more refined than mine, and also their plastic is smooth on the outside, whereas my characters had like fingerprints on them. On where I touched them, obviously, when I was moving. This is something that the company does not have to deal with much, but when they do, I believe they have a system in place so that they don't get fingerprints over them or misshape them. I made my anime. Tim's film The Nightmare Before Christmas has a story in it because it's a film that teaches a story of life lesson. My video has the same sort of story where it's teaching a life lesson to the audience, but using obviously music as well. The Nightmare Before Christmas has songs in it. This is like my animation I made, a music video animation, but the differences between the two were that this character was one that was singing a song, and so this makes the sound diegetic one. My characters were not being able to hear the song I played over the top, so that made the song I used non-diegetic. So even though we both use music, they were sort of different types in our animations. We both used different techniques. The colour of my animation was also different to Tim's. He uses a lot of dark colours in his, like The Nightmare of Christmas, there's a lot of blacks, browns, a little bit of white, because there were sort of skeletons and nightmarish creatures, and the only sort of real colour they injected into it was when they went to the Christmas land and sort of when you saw those trees and when they went to the human realm. But still sort of subdued colours, because that fitted the mood of his film, compared to mine where I used a lot of bright colours because my music video was supposed to be bright, but also it fits sort of natural feeling because they were supposed to be natural people in a natural setting, so I couldn't use like black and white characters because that wouldn't fit the style of my animation. Tim has a unique style with his armatures. They're always tall and lanky, and they're always thin, and they sort of have an unearthly feeling to them, especially Jack from The Nightmare Before Christmas. The characters in Aardman's amateurs though are very stumpy compared to Tim's, but still have still a big hit with audiences, which shows that it doesn't really matter how the character looks as long as they're made to be lovable by the animators for the audience. My characters were stubbier like Aardman's. I was unable to make them as thin as Tim Burton's type armatures. And the one was tall as well. In total, I would say that my animation had a few things that were the same as both Aardman and Tim Burton's work, but at the same time very different and sort of unique to my style, I believe. I tried to make a 33-second stop animation music video for the song She-Wolf. The story about a girl who got lost in the mountains. She comes across a wolf. She then befriends the wolf and they leave as friends. Obviously then you see her later on in her life and she's married. She specifically tells the man not to kill the wolf. He does. She gets angry at him, she runs away and she turns into the wolf. The idea behind the story is that you should really listen to other people because you can really hurt their feelings, and friends are one of the most important things in life as well as love, and kindness as well. You know, the kind act of the wolf, you know, allowing the girl into the wolf's cave for the night and then pointing her in the direction shows that with humanity and kindness, even from an animal who you think could have just killed her but chose not to. What I think I did well, I think I did an okay job on the animation. There are a few things that I'd want to change or move around a bit, so I'm still not completely happy with it. But I thought that the story was very good because I chose obviously to include a story, which meant that it had more feeling to the music video, and the lyrics helped with the emotion side of the story. I did go over my initial time just by a little bit though, but I was happy to do it as it allowed me to fit more of the story into the time, so that the story was would be able to be better told than in the original 33 seconds laid out for it. I was also to say that I did some very good close-up work with my characters, but I would need to think about doing other shot types if I redid it. That was just something that came up in the survey that I did. And it just shows to help show the movement a bit more, but I think the footage and the emotional side of it was really good. What I didn't think I did well is that I think I need to improve some of the footage that I took again, just some of those moves so that they have long shots. I did a lot of close-ups, so more long shots to show the movement of the characters a little bit more, so you don't just see them coming towards the camera or going away from the camera. It's more from left to right, forward to back, just to show a lot more movement really, and just generally making it a smoother animation. This is a little bit jumpy with the movement of the characters, and that's just something that I definitely think about changing. Also, the chroma key for the green screening on the background. I tried my best with green screening. It was the first time I used it, and if I was to improve it, I would, when taking the photos, just try to improve the green screen a little bit more, because I had to edit a lot of the photos with the green screen, or use about 3 chroma keys per picture, which obviously takes a lot of time, but that's to be expected with stop animation. If I do the animation again, I change the backgrounds and just some of the shots, just to make it look like they're going to different places instead of just the 2 that I had. Especially when the lady's running away, I had the same image with the tent in the background. She's supposed to be moving away, but it's sort of kept in the same place, which didn't really make sense. That would just help to make more sense of the music video to allow other people to understand it better. And obviously different shot types, just mix it up a bit more, allowing for more movement. And also I might just make the story a little bit shorter that I use when I make, so I leave it on a cliffhanger, so it makes people want to watch it more, and it sort of keeps their interest in the video a bit more than if I have just done a full video. Obviously there's a little bit of cliffhanger to allow for more room in the story and for more interest in it to occur. In my first question, I asked people what they thought the narrative of my animation was. I had mixed reviews for this. I had a few people who said that they found it a bit confusing, people who said that it was all about the lady turning into a wolf, some people who said that total narrative of, they got the total narrative of the animation itself, and some people said that it was very clear and that they understood it, and even one person said that it had a linear narrative. So they really assessed my music video very hard. This is why I believe that I could make the story in my animation just a little bit shorter, to take some of the story out, just to help people to understand the story more, and especially adding more shots for certain sections will help explain the story a lot better. In my second question, I asked what people thought of the content of my animation. This again had mixed reviews. Some people said that they found it jumpy and a bit unclear, and other people thought the content was good and easy to understand. This is another reason why fitting less into my time limit would be a lot better, just because it'd be able to understand it more and understand the content of my animation. In the third question, I asked them what they thought the genre of my animation was. Most people thought that it was romance/drama, with 2 people going so in depth with their answer that they correctly identified the target audience for my animation, along with their age range and gender. From this, I was able to see that I correctly managed to get the genre that I had chosen across to my audience. So this tells me I did a good job on that, and so I went with and correctly went with my brief and my sheets that I did. My fourth question, I asked the audience in my video if my video fit the style. Nearly everyone said that it did, only one person saying sort of, and one person is saying, and one person even going as far to name the style that I chose, such was given. This shows me that I met my brief well. with the style, and I don't believe that I need to change the style of my animation at all.